Good morning, my name is Martin and this is the Tribe of the Fox. And today there's another book review, and it's a book review about the Gullveigarbook, and it's written by Ekortu, also known as Vexior. So that's a gentleman from Sweden, and he's also known, if you like music, he's also known from the band Arcanum. But that's not what we're talking about the Gullveigarbook. So that is a book about the Thursatru philosophy, about working with the giants of the Old Norse mythology, as you can read in the Edda poetry. Now this Edda is a hard copy, but I cannot show you a hard copy of the Gullveigarbook, because when these books are made, they are sold out like this and they're gone. And then the second-hand prices are astronomical, 300-400 euros for a copy. Well, I'm not going to do this. That's way too much. So I read it in a PDF file. Now I don't like to read PDFs, but I read the Gullveigarbook that way many times because it's such a great book. So that's already a spoiler, but yeah, I really like the Gullveigarbook. So what is it about? It's about working with the Old Norse Thursar, the giants. It's a specific type of giants. And Ekortu, the writer of the Gullveigarbok, he first of all he describes the Thursatru philosophy in his book. And that book actually sparked a whole new philosophy, Thursatru, and it inspired other people to write books in that tradition or in similar tradition. So yeah, he's a bit of a pioneer. Now what is Thursatru? You can watch my video about Thursatru, in which I explain this philosophy a bit more in depth. What it basically is that there used to be a primordial void, a world of ice and a world of fire. When fire and ice met, the first beings came into being. The first giant was Ymir, and the world was basically, as Ekortu describes it, and I read it here, a cosmic, pan-dimensional multiverse. So there were no limits, hardly any limits. But another type of being came into being, and they were the gods that we now know as the Asir. Odin. Odin was one of these gods, and he decided to kill Ymir, the old giant. He killed him and turned his body into the cosmos that we nowadays know. So what do the giants think about this? Suddenly they live in this limited cosmos that's made of the dead body of their ancestor, and it's all, yeah, Odin all tries to control this. Well, that means a bit of hostility, and that's what Thursatru is about. It's about having this evil demiurge, Odin. He's in Thursatru seen as an evil demiurge, and the Thursar who try to bring the cosmos down, to go back to their primordial state, which is far more limitless. Okay, so Gullveigarbok, the book of Gullveig. So who is Gullveig? When the gods created, when Odin created the world that we now know today, the cosmic world, everything seemed to be fine. The gods were just playing around with their golden chess pieces, and it was all nice until three giant maidens, Thor's maidens, showed up. Now, three ladies, very important. I made a video about the triple goddess, because nowadays it's a bit forgotten, but the triple goddess is an extremely important theme in Germanic mythology. Nowadays everyone, not everyone, but many people say Odin is the All-Father and Odin this, Odin that, blah blah blah. but actually it was all about triple goddess. I made a video about this, check it out. Okay, these three Tours maidens showed up and they introduced greed, or a lust for gold, in the world of the gods, in Asgard. And that's basically, the gods knew that that wasn't what they really wanted, and they destroyed, killed Gullveig. And they killed her 3 times, because every time she basically resurrected again. First she was known as Gullveig, then after the first time killed she was known as Heider. And Heider, she was the one who brought cider, so that's the Old Norse magic. She brought it to people who wanted to know about it. Yeah. And in the Old Norse sagas, in the Edda poetry, it is basically seen as something a bit bad. Who is this third emanation? Well, Ekortu, the writer of this book, he says that it is our Boda. And he has a whole theory why. You have to read this for yourself. Okay, so there was another interesting thing. Gullveig was burned 3 times, but her heart, her cold heart, could not be burned. And Loki ate the heart of Gullveig. And after that, Loki created 3 children. Because of that, he created 3 children with Angerboda, the wise hag of the Ironwood. That's a wild place, by the way, most of the time. So, is Angerboda not one of the emanations of Gullveig? Could be. Loki ate the heart of Gullveig, and then that caused Loki and Angerboda to have 3 children: Hel, Fenris, Jörmungandr. 3 very, very, very important characters in Old Norse mythology. Yeah, and he explains all about this. Ekortu also speaks about Hirokin. Hirokin is also a giantess, and it means the fire withered. So her skin affected by fire. Okay, was Gullveig not burned 3 times? Is Hirokin the same as Gullveig? Well, she was extremely powerful, Hirokin. When the son of Odin died, Balder, he had a ship burial. So he pushed a ship into from the shore and set it on fire. That's a ship burial. But the gods were not strong enough to push the ship away from the shore. So they called in a giantess named Hirokin, the fire withered. And she arrived riding a big wolf. Wolves, by the way, are very plentiful in the Ironwood, where Angerboda rules. You see all these connections? Ekortu speaks about all these connections and why certain deities might be emanations of Gullveig. Anyway, Hirokin arrived on her big wolf. Even 4 berserker warriors could not hold the wolf in check. And Hirokin simply pushed off the ship, and the ship burial could go on. Yeah, it must have been a bit humiliating for the gods, not having enough power to do this. Maybe magic was involved. So he tells a lot of these stories about all these deities that might be emanations of Gullveig, and also why they did what they did. Because the Old Norse sagas are a very big and complicated story. Many pieces of the puzzle are missing, so you need interpretation. but you also need actual practice. And that's a nice thing about Thursatru and similar philosophies. We're just being an intellectual who has read a lot of books and who can quote the Edda poetry by heart. That's not enough. It's not enough. You should practice. And that is also an important part of the Gullveigarbook, the book about Gullveig. So Ekortu speaks about how to do a blot or a offering to the Thursar, to Gullveig, for instance. So if you want to know how that goes, then, well, you can follow the book. He also speaks about Seta. And Seta means meditation, or as I often call it, trance journeying. That's a way to actually connect with the beings that you want to connect with. Yeah, very important. It's a very important practice. You really have to trust your intuition to do that, and you need to have a certain level of concentration to do it. However, in this book, that's also described. What is also described is practical magic. And Ekortu works a lot with bind runes or sigils. And there are many examples of them in the Gullveigarbook. So very, very interesting. So he talks about philosophy. He speaks about who are the emanations of Gullveig and why. And he speaks about the practical side of Thursatru. Yeah. And like I said, I don't like to read PDF files, but this book I read many times this way. It's very interesting. It's a very, very deep path. I see Thursatru as an esoteric path. So exoteric means accessible for many people, and esoteric is more, I see it more as an individual thing. It goes much deeper. I see Thursatru as actually as a way to free yourself of this conditioned cosmos. It's freedom. It's not getting dragged along by all the cosmic currents and all these actually not so important things that we make very important, if you understand what I say. So yeah, the tribe of the fox is basically a Direkjenmi. We are about rediscovering Northwestern European pre-Christian spirituality, and we talk about this in our videos and on our social media, and we give workshops nowadays. So yeah, they are accessible for everyone. Thursatru, I do this on a personal path, or something similar to Thursatru. It inspires me a lot. Yeah. So yeah, that said, read the Gullveigarbook. It's really, really interesting. And that was it for today. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you in the next video. Bye bye.